Welcome to this video lecture on the subject of distributions and random variables. The word distribution is a word that we use in everyday life. If you think about a grocery chain, they have a distribution system where they take all of the food from some depot and then travel to the different stores where it's shared out in some way. Maybe the bigger stores get more. So that a certain amount is placed in each store. And that, of course, is what we mean by the word distribution. Now, in statistics, we use the word distribution in a very similar way. We are talking about how all of the numbers or outcomes are shared out among the different values that are possible. For example, suppose we roll a die many times. We will get 1 sometimes, we'll get 2 sometimes, all the way up to 6. Now, how many of those outcomes will be shared out and given to the category 1? And how many will be given to the category 2? It turns out, in the case of a die, that equal numbers are given to all of the categories. So 1/6 of all the outcomes belong to the category 1. 1/6 belong to the category 2, and so on, right up to 6. Because a die is uniform. That is to say, all of the numbers behave in the same way, and in particular, all of the outcomes have the same probability. We say that this is a uniform distribution. We give the same share to all of the different outcomes because that's how the system behaves. Now, there are other uniform distributions. For example, if we look at the distribution of random digits, all of the digits 0, 1 up through 9 are all equally likely. So 1/10 of all the occasions will see the digit 1 appearing. 1/10 of all the occasions will see the digit 2 appearing. So again, it's a uniform distribution. And so when we meet a distribution like this, we recognize that it's familiar. We know that it's called a uniform distribution. We know that all the outcomes are equally likely. And the only thing that's different between them is that in the case of the die, the parameter value is 6. In the case of the random digit, the parameter value is 10. Which tells us how many categories there are altogether. The advantage of studying something like this is that when we meet another uniform distribution that we haven't met before, maybe one with parameter value 4 or 16 or something else, we recognize that it's a familiar problem in just a new situation. And this allows us to be able to calculate probabilities very easily because we have seen something like this before. Now, this will become even more useful when we move on to the next section and we begin studying the normal distribution, where the numbers are not shared out equally among the categories, but the numbers in the middle are allocated more than the numbers at the edges. The very low numbers and the very large, high numbers are unusual. For example, my height is typical. I'm a typical Irish man in terms of height. So there are lots of heights distributed into this category like me. But if you take a much taller person than me, much fewer are distributed there, much fewer who are shorter than me. So most of the numbers are distributed into the middle category. So a distribution of a random variable tells you where the numbers go, how many are distributed into each number category. You can read more about this in the textbook in chapter 3.